right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome to the Meet the Pressers Riding Shotgun with Charlie. Man, it has been a while, Mr.
It's been a while, man. We're back at it.
I know.
I'm so excited.
The season of harvest is here, and we are harvesting some new shows.
It's been too freaking long. I look
Easy
like
does it there, man. Is that your
trainer? It's a
Bram trainer. Nice.
Yeah.
Is that's one of those cool ones, those Bram ones, right?
Yeah, Bram Frank.
Bram Frank. Oh, that's awesome. That's pretty cool, man.
I got a blue one. I got a red one. Oh shit! Just kidding.
Shoot! This is a kid-friendly show.
Darn it! Sugar.
All right, we get people here. What have you been up to? How have you been? What's been going on?
Been good. Just getting ready for winter. We had our first bit of snow last night here in upstate New York. So yeah. A little cold. So I'm going out to all the little things around the property and pulling in all the paint and the spray cans and going in the garage and thawing out freezers and blah 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 blah. So trying to button up the the farm for the winter, along with
very cool
teaching and training all over the place. So it's been same amount of classes, not as many students. I'm hearing across the board that a lot of instructors aren't having the numbers in the classes as they used to.
Wow. Well, I'll tell you this, with the insanity that we have here in the Commonwealth in Massachusetts, classes have been off the hook for the last 2 months.
Really?
Since our AGG, our anti-gun governor, came out and said that she is going to put the kibosh on anything and everything. She's changing the training requirements. She wants to bump up a new assault weapon ban. She wants to make it illegal to carry magazines. You can have them. You can use them at the range. You can't have them loaded, and you can't carry them loaded. You can't transport them loaded. I've had a ton of people signing up for classes, which has been fabulous.
So should I move out there then?
No, God, no. I have been telling everyone, I said, I don't know what the new training requirement's going to be, but Illinois came out of their nonsense with a 16-hour course they have to take to get a carry permit. Yep. And New York came out with a 18-hour course. Yep. So I'm sure Massachusetts wants to ramp it up and make it a 20 or 24 hours of gun training.
I always say I like gun control. I like to be able to control the guns that are in my hands.
Absolutely. So that's been occupying a lot of my weekends, like Saturdays and Sundays. I did go to the Gun Rights Policy Conference at the end of September, and I got to be the MC.
Our guest actually was there with you.
Our guest was there. I sat next to her. John Petrolino and I. She went up to get an award, and John Petrolino and I took her phone and started taking pictures. So
of what? Wait, of what? Would you take pictures?
Well, just pictures of each other.
Yeah.
Smile, Charlie.
So right. So let's bring in our guest tonight. Our guest tonight is Kansas representative of 59, the Hello District of 59, Rebecca Schmoe.
Hello.
Good evening, Charlie and Matt.
Howdy.
It is great to see you. We have, before we get to you, Rebecca, we have a ton of people that are watching and checking out the show. DJ Play Nice is here. Woods is here. Brent Amston's here. Tony Simon, the largest pound-for-pound gun bunny in America, is here. Patrick Collins, the Gun Food. Thegunfood.com. If you go to thegunfood.com and enter the code RSWC, you save 5.56% on your ammunition, and he does deliver to Massachusetts.
Wow.
Who else? Charlie Chambers, of course. Charlie is a great brand. He is here. Brian Barnes is here. Brian McDonald is here. David Moultrup is here. So many people here checking out the show. It's great to have everyone back.
Yeah. It's good to be here. Thanks for bringing all these people, Rebecca.
Everybody likes
absolutely. I can definitely take credit for Tony Simon, because I tell you what, that man stalks me. He makes sure that I know that he exists, and in the best possible way. He is one of my all-time absolute favorite people on the planet, and he does great work in New Jersey, making sure that absolutely everybody understands that gun rights are for them.
Good to
know. Who? For men?
For them.
Oh, for them. I thought you said for men. I'm like, no. That's not what Tony pushes.
This is what he
for everybody.
He laughed at that.
That's good. Yes, of course he did.
Tony's pretty awesome. All right, so we got a lot of great people are tuning in. Let's talk with Rebecca Schmoe. It is election season. This is your first re-election. 2 years ago, you ran for state rep because somebody needed to. I think if I remember right, like your Republican rep decided at the last minute he was not going to run, and someone needed to step in, and it was you.
Yeah, he announced from the last day of session that year that he was not going to seek re-election. Surprised all of his constituents, and I started making phone calls and sending emails saying, "Who's the guy? What can I do? How do I help?" And they said, "How about you?" And I said no a few times because I'm the one that holds politicians accountable. I don't want to be a politician. Like, that's never been a life goal for me. And turns out that people want somebody as the representative who absolutely distrusts the government and hates politicians. So here I am.
Here you are. That is excellent. That's really the way it ought to be. Right.
Absolutely.
Very cool. So how was your first 2 years, Ben?
It was a whirlwind. The learning curve is astounding. Even though I had already been involved at the State House and building relationships with legislators and understanding how bills work, how they're made, how they're presented, what it takes to testify on them, I already knew a lot of the behind the scenes, in and out stuff. I already knew a lot of people who were up there, but even still, it's a lot to take in, and it's a lot to make sure that you understand really the back end of all of it. So our revisors are the ones that actually build the bills. They're the lawyers that are working on the wording. And so while you have a great idea and something that you want to have happen in your state, you have to build good relationships with them, and you have to make sure to vet every single word. And as we know in Second Amendment community, every single comma, because those matter. That differentiates one sentence structure from another, and it means entirely different things to the court. And so you really have to understand all of those things. Plus, then you also have to be at home and talk to your constituents and make sure that you are on the same page with the people that you represent. There is literally nothing worse than having your representative in your state house and everything that they say is out of step with what you believe.
Right.
And so I know, unfortunately, that happens a lot. And of course, there's not everyone here in my district that absolutely believes everything I believe, but we are all working together to make sure that our district and our state is the best that it can possibly be.
I think that's an important thing in any district, is that the politicians listen and they try to at least be that, that, I don't want to say middle of the road, but you want to take them seriously. And I think I see it at least more like in New York State, and you probably too, and Charlie, in your state of massive graveness there, Massachusetts. We got politicians that won't even return calls. Like even my local representatives won't even get back to me about the SAFE Act that they passed, or the CCA that they recently passed, or the law that the governor just voted in a couple days ago. Like, I'm reaching out asking questions, and even the Republican sides are like, well, I ask questions too, they're not getting back to us. So it's literally, they have all the power, so they just basically shut down anything that comes from Republicans. They don't care. It's like, we don't care what you say because we got all the power. And I think that's absolute power corrupts absolutely. I think that's a slippery slope.
It is. I do tend to follow the rule that these aren't my constituents, they're my neighbors. And so I have to come home and go to the grocery store and look people in the eye and answer the question while I'm standing there, trying to figure out what to make for dinner. So it really is connection with your neighbors, whether they agree with what you just did at the State House or not.
Yeah. I wonder how the federal politicians do that then, because there's still some of them saying we have a good economy right now. Like
Yeah, my federal representative is saying that.
Right.
So
do you go and buy groceries? Because like I'm going broke buying groceries, and we have a garden and chickens and bees and just the three of us, and it's hard to go to the store and not spend $400 or $500.
I went to the grocery store, although I hit Walmart of all, tactically frugal places, and I really did not get much. And the lady's like, "Okay, just under $100. Thanks. This will get me through maybe 3 days."
Wow.
Yeah.
And that's eating the box that it came in and the plastic wrap.
Yeah, exactly. It's eating the Walmart brand everything. Great value. I wonder what the great value is. They should just call it value.
No, there was a joke that I saw the other day about how strong we've all gotten in this economy because now we can carry $100 worth of groceries in one hand.
There we go. There we go. All right, DJ's got a great question here. How would you recommend that we best spend the next 5 years, 5 days, and $5 to support our firearms rights and firearms normalization?
I like this.
Oh, very nice. Okay, so let me see. The next 5 years, you need to make sure that you are electing the right people. We need to make sure that we've got judges in place at the federal level and at the state level. They're going to be actually looking at the Constitution and know what it says. 5 days, it is election season. Go out, help your local candidates who stand up for your rights. Go knock doors and make introductions. Talk to your friends and neighbors. $5. Honestly, at this point, I would put every bit of that $5 right into the Second Amendment Foundation, because when people overstep in state governments or local governments, they're the ones that are the boots on the ground doing battle in the courts trying to right those wrongs.
Absolutely.
Nice.
Okay, I gotta show something off. So
Uh-oh.
No, keep talking.
This is a G-rated show, Matt.
Hey. Charlie.
It's nothing with a big barrel. Oh, look at this. Your SAF Defender Club, the lifetime membership to SAF. That is fabulous.
Nice. Perfect.
A lifetime membership to SAF is $150. If you don't want to do the lifetime membership, other than that, it's $15 a year. Yep. And it's a very good investment. Absolutely. Very good investment.
And I am not plugging them because I just happened to be at GRPC. Because I would have made that recommendation 2-3 years ago when they really started coming out heavy hitting and righting some of those wrongs. They've been very successful.
Absolutely.
Clint and I just recorded earlier today with Brandon Williams. He's our local United States congressman here in my area, and Brandon's a customer of mine. His wife and his son both took handgun classes from me in the past, so I've got a good relationship with him. And one of the things he said was there's a lot of organizations out there, and that's the way to get to your congressman, to get, if you're behind this organization and then they're pushing a narrative with, hundreds of thousands of millions of members that are behind that organization, and that organization approaches a politician and says, we want to sit down with you and talk about this issue, then it holds a lot more weight than just sending an email or making a phone call. So it was interesting that he said that. I was interested to hear that. It's good to hear it.
Speaking from experience, constituents are worth far more than money. The lobbyists and special interest organizations can dump all kinds of money into the political sphere. What it boils down to for politicians, what it boils down to for legislators, regardless of what level they're on, whether it's local school board, whether it's federal level, and everything in between, is constituents. If you don't have the votes to be the person making those decisions, then no amount of money or fancy dinners is going to override the fact that they are putting you back into the position to make those decisions.
Right. Gotcha. Let's go back to GRPC for a moment. You are an award-winning person on this show today.
Yes.
tell us about the award that you got.
Okay, so as you know, Charlie and John Petrolino had to escort me onto the stage because I have a broken ankle. And so in my usual fashion, I don't do anything halfway. So when I broke my ankle back in May, I snapped it in 3 places. I now have a plate and 7 screws. And I am still, the bones themselves have healed. All the metal is doing what it's supposed to be doing, but the soft tissue is still trying to retrain and learn what it's supposed to do. Wow. And so while I relearn how to walk, I'm on crutches and also on a knee scooter for traveling and things like that for long extended periods. And so Charlie and Petrolino, they had to help me onto the stage so I didn't tip one way or the other while I was walking up the couple steps. That was it was made more difficult to not tip one way or the other because I was genuinely shocked that I was being recognized. I had no idea. I was, they're giving out these awards. I'm so happy for everybody that's getting them. I am taking pictures and I'm enjoying, cheering on friends and people that I've just met and hearing all these amazing stories of what people have been doing in the Second Amendment community. And then they announced my name, and I was very much taken back, and it was very emotional. I'm very good. I have a lot of practice at being able to fill empty space as far as speaking, and I almost completely forgot to speak. Alan Gottlieb actually had to say, "Do you want to say a few words?" after I got the Defender of Liberty of 2024 award. And so I went, "Oh yeah, I probably should." And so then I proceeded to thank everyone who is in attendance and everyone who makes this their mission. So yeah, it was.
Congratulations. That's
it means
awesome.
a lot to me. And I could not be more proud of that award.
So
very cool.
I think all the viewers and listeners want to know whose ass did you put a foot up to break it that bad? I'm just curious. Like, you broke it in 3 places, and the soft tissue is still recovering from May. Like,
right? You should see the other person.
Was that like a political fight? What's going on here?
Okay, so I wish it was something as cool as that. No, I was carrying a big pot of pasta. Okay, I got a big pot of pasta, and I'm walking down some stairs, and I stepped down with my left and rolled it. Tried to catch myself with the right, and it snapped in 3 places. I fall. I did not drop any of the pasta.
Wow.
I'm a boy mom, and I have priorities, and obviously I was not making lunch the next day. They needed lunch.
Wow.
That is fantastic. That is fantastic.
I don't remember when it was, but it was earlier this year. I was walking down the stairs of our guest house, our lodge, and I had a vacuum from the pellet stove with the ashes to take it outside, and I had something else. I can't remember what it was, maybe a bucket or something in the other hand. So I'm walking down the stairs, and the stairs are pretty steep, and I got probably 3 or 4 steps from the bottom, and like I just slipped off of it, and my foot just went, my foot went like this. And it was pretty bad. I was hobbling for a while, and I never went to the doctor and for a while. And then it must have been in the spring, because it was July. I was like, I'm going to try this. So I went running. I started running again in July, and it was a little sore to start, but I think I'm okay now. But it's still every once in a while I can feel it does feel a little sore here and there. So yeah, ankles are terrible. I've never heard. I mean, I've sprained it before, but that's like the worst I've ever done. So kudos for you for 3 breaks.
It's been a process, and given that it is election season, that makes porches and door knocking very difficult.
Oh yeah.
So I have a great team that has really stepped up and been helping with the door knocking and things like that. But it makes running for re-election very difficult.
Have you milked it at home though with the kids? Like, oh, honey, can you pick that up? Can you bring me a
Actually,
drink?
not purposefully. The kids all stepped up. They've been great. And
awesome.
Brent, the man, he actually, I had no idea that he could cook. And so, like, we're 3 weeks into the break, and he has made every single meal. And I was like, "This is amazing! You're such a great cook." And he was like, "Well, don't get used to it." And I was like, "Oh, buddy, I was used to it 3 meals in, not
Yep.
3 weeks. Now we're 4 months."
Right. You just wanted to take. You wanted to wait and
Thanks.
see what was on the menu, and then said, "All right,
Yes.
listen, this
No,
is a
it's been
permanent
great.
change."
They've taken very good care of me. And while traveling, of course, I have great friends that take very good care of me.
Nice.
I could see it now. You'll come home and be like, I really don't feel like making dinner. I think you guys can all have cereal. And there goes
Yeah.
Brent into the kitchen.
Yeah, we do that. We do that a lot. I actually made dinner tonight. So
Nice.
we're progressing towards being fully healed.
But
So.
you do have PTSD from spaghetti. You haven't had spaghetti since.
I have not made that particular
Yeah.
Alfredo since that day.
Yeah.
But that's not off limits entirely because I like it too much.
Right.
Nice. All right, let's catch up with some comments here. First of all, I want to pull this one up. Charlie Chambers was next to me when I won the Blogger of the Year award. Charlie, actually, I wasn't paying any attention, and Charlie's like, "Hey, man, they just called your name." I'm like, for what?
For what?
Yeah, and
I did.
yeah.
Like, wait,
So
hold on.
I went up. I'm like, I got something. Patrick Collins had a question here. Of course, we always call him Patrick Collins instead of Patrick. But Patrick says, "Can you explain the importance of local politics?"
Oh my gosh. People really take local politics for granted. So often at the local level, you have people who are in these positions for 20 plus years because name recognition and people are just apathetic. Everybody has a busy life. Everybody has things going on. And so you just don't make time. You don't go to your local chambers. You don't go to your local committee meetings and things like that because you're busy and you've elected these people to just take care of it. You really have to be paying attention. Your local school boards make decisions on how so much of your state money and your local property tax money is being spent that even if you don't have kids in school, you really need to be on the ball with how they're spending your tax money. It's your money. Then whether it's your city or your county, or whatever it is that your township that you live in, you need to make sure that you are right in the middle of the conversations about how your money is being spent there, because that is primarily the people who affect your daily life. If you are not involved in your local politics is involved in every aspect of every day of your life. They make decisions that hit you right there at home. And so my encouragement to everyone is know who your local politicians, who your local people are, and make sure that they're doing a good job with your money and with your freedoms. During COVID, especially, we saw a ton of mandates come down across the nation. And in my particular area, we were lucky enough to have enough constituents to really put pressure on our local elected positions to make sure that the mandates stayed as mandates. They are strong suggestions. They should not be treated as law. And not everyone was so fortunate in that because they didn't pay attention to who was making those decisions.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, COVID really was a wild time. Something came up on my Facebook recently, and it was pictures of the grocery stores that all had arrows in them and tell everyone where to go. And it said, it was some little friendly reminder that the people that were telling you which way to walk down the aisles of the store are also up for re-election. So you need to kind of remember that.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Speaking now, moving to big politics, David Multrup says even Kamala has a gun, even though she isn't on a leaked list of registered gun owners, and has a very old Glock that is on the Cali roster. I've become one of these guys that, and I'm, this is, you start to pick up how people use phrases and how they say things. Like when I hear people here in Massachusetts talk about an FID card, and they're old-ish, I know that they're talking about their license to carry. So I'm at this point when I hear someone that's not a gun person say they have a Glock, I assume they just mean a handgun. When Joe Biden comes out and says that 9mm are bad, I don't know if he realizes that 45s are bigger. Do you know what I mean? Like, I think people pick up on things that are in the terms that we use in our vernacular, in our culture, in our milieu, and they want to try to pick up on it and be cool and say they know these things, but they don't. I'm sure she's got a gun. It's probably a Glock. She said she's fired it. She said she needed one because she's law enforcement. I have a hard time seeing the attorney general as law enforcement. Like, I don't see them wearing a badge and a belt and in a club and stuff.
She enforces the law, but she is not law enforcement. There's a difference.
Right. Yes, exactly. I don't see her out on the beat writing tickets and parking tickets and speeding tickets and stuff. But she probably did have people that were out wanting to go after her, because she has come out and said that she can give someone a misdemeanor just by signing a piece of paper.
That's not governmental corruption at its most.
Right.
Ridiculous.
Yeah. So
yeah, I honestly, where I fall on that is, she, as an American citizen, she has every right to own a gun, and she has every right to own whatever gun she wants. I mean, that's what the Second Amendment says. That's what it's for, to ensure that we are putting restrictions on our government from telling us who and what and where we can have our form of personal protection. Also, I find it comical that she would choose something that's on the register. And on that same note, I find it comical that we all just watched Walls in his atrocious butchering of pheasant hunting. So that was, right. As a hunter, I was ashamed.
Yeah, when you can't work an easy shotgun, you think, like, before you record, you'd be like, all right, let me figure this out before you put the camera on. Give me a minute, and you'd figure it out, like, okay, I think I got it down. All right, ready, go. I mean, if you're, thank God he did that.
Camera crew at a hunt is weird anyway. So.
Well, of course. Well, that's all PR. Yeah. That's all the PR stunt. 1,000%.
Oh, it was brutal. That was just uncomfortable to watch.
Hey, Grandpa, let me help you with that. I mean,
Grandpa would know how to do it.
Probably. I mean, Elmer Fudd would know how to do it even better than him.
Right. It's probably muscle memory for Grandpa, right?
Right.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's crazy, the stunts they're trying to pull, like her saying that she, Kamala saying that she's got a gun, and if anybody comes in my house, I'll shoot them. Yet if we said that, oh my God, you're going to shoot somebody. And then on the flip, he's going out trying to look like he knows how to hunt. We own guns. Yeah, obviously you need training.
One of the best comments that I saw on the internet in its entirety yesterday was someone talking about the fact that the Democrat policies are so bad that they've, in this election season, they're cosplaying as Republicans.
Oh, that's genius.
That is nice.
I was like, yes, they are. Let's see how that works for them.
Freaking. And then, I get another one. Cosplay gone wrong, and then have Elmer Fudd as Walls.
Yes.
Nice.
They think like that's the epitome of the a Republican gun owner is Elmer Fudd.
Right. It's a bird hunter. It's crazy. Goodness. All right, we're about halfway through the show. I want to make a little plug for all of our listeners. If you are watching the show, you can go to meetthepressers.com/giveaway and enter REP REP in the as the code or the phrase that pays, and we will enter you to win win a Mantis X or a CERT, a 110 CERT training laser pistol. So please do that if you are if you're watching the show. DJ Play Nice has a great question. This guy's always, I love it when like DJ asks great questions, G Webs ask great questions, and I'm always like, oh man,
so do you.
I'm glad they don't ask me questions. But DJ says, what are your beliefs on the best way to approach the complex problems in our rapidly changing society?
That's deep.
That is a deep one.
Deep
I'm
question.
sitting here thinking, man.
All right. So First and foremost, I have a foundation. I know what I believe. I know why I believe it. I put my own personal time well before I ever ran for office into understanding what I believe and why I believe it, and then challenging what I believe with other ideas so that I can better understand what I believe and how to explain it to other people. I think that fundamental work is incredibly important when we're talking about that. On top of that, talk to people, have conversations. Personal conversations change the world. One-on-one conversations is where every single time hearts and minds are changed. And so if you want to get other opinions, if you want to find out where other people are and gauge the temperature of the room, you have to have uncomfortable conversations. Just last week at an event that I held, there was a lady that showed up and she did not agree with me on a very strong topic, one of the big controversial ones. And she made a little bit of a scene, but that's part of it. She is very passionate about what she believes. She and I are never going to agree on this particular topic. It's just not going to happen. Fundamentally, we disagree. But that doesn't mean that she shouldn't share her opinion and I shouldn't listen, especially as a state rep. And so between those things and just trying to find where you can find common ground, but also standing strong on your non-negotiables, that's all we can do. And as the world changes around us, we really have to understand that fundamental base that we already have so that we can connect with our neighbors, whether they agree with us or not.
It's well said. Sometimes we get, in the political ideology and such, and we're just so adamant about our beliefs, we don't care what other people think, and I think we all fall into that sometimes. So that's good. That's good advice.
A phrase you just used, I really I like is non-negotiable, unalterable. And I remember years ago reading a self-help excuse me, a self-help improvement book, and it was a book for men, and it was called "Hold On to Your Nuts." And your nuts were non-negotiable, unalterable terms. And I thought that was really cool because it was like, hey, if this happens in your relationship, this is how you handle this. Or if you want to, if you want to make your wife happy, plan a date night for your wife. Like, figure out what your terms are and don't change them. You make some decisions, make some leadership calls. But I thought it was a pretty good book, and I like that the non-negotiable, unalterable terms. So you know what you stand for, you know what you believe in, and you're not going to change that. I like that a lot.
I got a funny joke or funny follow-up to that. I don't know if I should say.
Are you going to tell us, or are you just going to tell us you have a joke?
I was going to say, so you hold on to your nuts, take her out on a date night, then she holds on to your nuts later. So it's a win-win.
Oh, wow.
That's what crossed my mind when you said that joke.
Right. Of course, the one that comes up to me is the old joke back when Hillary and Barack were running for office. It said if Hillary Clinton gave Barack Obama one of her balls, then they'd both have two.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
Keep it classy,
Anyway,
guys. Keep it classy.
Yeah, I know.
We digress. We digress.
We do.
Oh, this is my favorite part about talking to my friends.
Right. As we're sitting here talking about how it's a G-rated show, I'm the one that brings it right down, throws it right out of the gutter.
That's right.
Anyway, so what else has been going on? So this is your re-election year. One of the things that you've said a number of times, and I've heard you say it enough that I absolutely love it. Is that if you really want to have an impact on your local politicians, is to go out and door knock with them for 10 hours, and 2 hours at a time on a Saturday, so you get to know them. And then what happens when you get to know your politicians better?
That's a very good point. I've said for years, well before I ever ran for office, before I had any idea that this was a thing that I was going to be doing with my life, it's important for you to know who your representatives are. Is way more important for them to know who you are. The way that they know who you are, and they take you seriously, is that direct communication. If you invest your time and your talent and your energy in whoever it is that you have running in your area that is protecting your rights, they will remember that. Their door will be open. They will take your phone calls. They will respond to your emails. I hate to say that's part of the process, because as elected officials, you should be communicating with any constituent that, you know, cares enough to reach out.
There's only so many.
But let's be honest, we're people. We make time for the people who we know are stepping up on our behalf. We make time for the people that we have personal relationships with. If you want to have that personal relationship, help them out. Find out what you can do when it's not election season. Find out how you can help them, what you can do. Are there bills that I can come up and testify on? Do you need me to go around and host a meet and greet so that you can get in front of people and talk about an important bill that may or may not get through? What can I do in order to help? Or I'm having this Second Amendment event, this firearm safety event, fun shoot or whatever. Would you come so that people in this community can meet you and understand, just like I do, that you are sticking up for our rights? Things like that. It is really simple, and it really doesn't take that much time, and it certainly doesn't take very much money in order to build those relationships with your elected officials.
That's awesome.
Very cool. All right, DJ's got a follow-up here. After you leave office, what do you want to be known for most, and have you done anything to ensure that legacy?
Oh, wow. As far as being in office, as far as this particular position, or any position that, you know, who knows what the future, I wasn't planning on doing this one, so who knows what the future is going to hold as far as that goes. Just defending liberty, defending the right of the people, making sure that there is still the connection between we, the people, and those that are in positions that are governing. We are governed at our own consent. And if I don't do anything else during my time in office, I want it to be remembered that I absolutely educated people on what their role is in our government. People all the time say that we have three branches. We have the legislative, the judicial, and the executive. We have four, because we have we the people, and we the people have all the power over the other three.
I like that. I think sometimes they forget that, and you know, it's good to see that you're humble and you understand that, because I think a lot of people, we were talking about term limits earlier with Brandon Williams, and you know, a lot of people forget about the whole, they work for the people, and sometimes they need to go back to the people, like you said you do at the local store and stuff, right?
One thing that I said to someone yesterday, I was having a conversation yesterday, and I was trying to explain my heart in all of this. And I said, listen, I'm just every day trying to be the representative that I always wanted and never had. That's the goal.
Nice. All right, what else you got, Clint? I'm trying to dig up a picture of Rebecca to put on.
Oh, no.
Yes.
So I'm put that one up.
Gonna say, what? You're not going to show the picture of you and Petrolino with the "I love crab cakes"?
I love crabs.
Crab cakes.
Crab
cakes.
Oh,
crab cake. I'm gonna keep figuring out how to bring up this picture. You want to tell him this story?
Tell me. Tell us. Tell everybody.
Oh, okay. So while I'm receiving my award that I'm completely shocked to get, when Charlie and John take my phone and start taking pictures of themselves, instead of paying attention to anything I'm saying, they're over there taking pictures of themselves with a little note written that says, "I love crab cakes." And it all stemmed from I was having a terrible, terrible day. I don't know, like a year ago. I don't even remember what was going on.
Yep.
So obviously it wasn't that bad. But I got a very long phone message from Charlie and John. They were road tripping, and they had some spiel about crab cakes and fall foliage. And so they remembered that and made sure that I remembered it as well. In fact, I still have that voicemail on my phone today. I pull it up and listen to it every once in a while. It's a good reminder of good people that I know.
Right.
And crab cakes.
And crab cakes.
And honestly, that's like one of my favorite things. So there's that.
Nice. It's kind of like that G strap, G string that John has hanging up behind every time we have him on the show.
That's not that.
I know.
I don't know. Have you seen this, Rebecca? This thing that he's talking about. So
yeah, I have not, but I can only imagine what it is and what it looks like.
You got to
no. Don't get too excited. Don't get too excited. So what it is this. I'm trying to work on the other pictures right now. So Rebecca is right. It was a year ago. John and I were on a road trip, and Rebecca, she posted on something on social media about people. I don't know. I can't remember what it was, but she posted something. I'm like, hey, we got like 6 hours on the road. So I'm like, let's call Rebecca and leave her a voicemail. So we called, left her this, this long voicemail, and we're driving through Maryland. We're like, oh yeah, John said something about having crab cakes. So that's kind of how all this crab cake business came about.
Wow.
Yeah, which is pretty funny. The hat. Oh, the hat. Thank you. So the hat. So John got the moniker the Pen Patriot, and I decided to. I wanted to find a 3-cornered hat for him. So I found a 3-cornered hat and bought it for him, and it was actually, this is completely ridiculous, but it was his birthday, and I went down to celebrate his birthday. It was a surprise party at a place, and I ended up bringing his hat as a gift for him because he's the Pen Patriot, and he ended up putting this on the wall behind him, and that's where it hangs. But when you look at the 3-cornered hat, it's got the white. It's like a black hat with white trim around it, and when you look at it, it looks like a pair of panties with the legs. The white lines kind of look like the legs. So everyone's like, what's that underwear doing on your wall, man? He's like, it's not underwear, it's a hat.
It's a hat.
So, and I'm not having any luck finding these pictures. I think I've loaded them onto my computer, but I can't figure out how to. This ain't working out. Nothing's coming up.
Since I don't know what picture it is, I'm okay with that.
Yeah, that's okay. It is okay. It's the picture that if you look for Rebecca, it's the picture that comes up where she looks the most angry. And I'm like, that's not a good picture to use, so I shall not.
Oh,
all right.
Is it the one in one of my committee hearings where I have the look of derision?
You totally do. You're like, I can't. Every picture's you're smiling, you're beautiful. This one, you're like, she looks like
it was education committee.
Somebody.
Oh,
so you can imagine. I was listening to the experts in the education committee telling me making excuses for proficiency levels, so they earned that look.
Wow.
Gotcha.
RBF.
Yes.
Hey, Charlie.
Except for it wasn't resting; it was active.
Oh, so is that ABF? Is that
ABF? Yes.
So we got this question. We got some commenters here commenting back to each other. So we got that one, and then we have this followed up. Oop, that followed up. And Charlie, now you need to say China in your accent, like Trump. Do it.
China. Listen, we got China. I love China. China's okay. Like, there's a lot of people there, but it's China's fault. It's China.
I usually do them a little bit better with a half a bottle of Jack Daniels.
That's a lot.
Well, the reason why Patrick is asking me about the self-driving vehicles is because I put common sense aside and rode in one of those with him and some other people. And there's a reason why they made the movie Christine. And Maximum Overdrive comes to mind. I am not a fan. Not a fan. It was an experience, and an experience I will do once.
Wow.
All right. Well, there we go.
At least you
There
tried
we
it.
go.
You've got to try. It's just not for me, and hopefully not for anybody else on the road, because I am also driving on the road.
Yeah, touche. So DJ Play Nice has got another great intellectual question. In your current office, how do you address long-term consequences in legislation, and how do you mitigate unintended ones?
We talk about unintended consequences all the time. What people do not understand is that oftentimes they are intended consequences. So you really have to be careful using the terminology unintended, because a lot of times people know what they're doing when they do it. At the state level, we try really hard to vet the bills that are coming through. Like I said, you've got to have a really good relationship with your revisors, with people writing the bills, to ensure that it says what you want it to say. You have the committee process to get further information from other legislators as well as the public. So you want to take all those things into consideration and build the best bill that you can possibly build. Once it gets put into law, if there is a flaw in that bill, if you find out after implementation that it's an unfunded mandate, or if you find out that it unwittingly, you didn't realize it was going to cause a problem with something that's already on the books, then you have the opportunity the next year, or whenever it is that your legislature meets, to go back in and tweak those bills. And so a lot of times you will hear phrases like Pelosi when she said, well, we have to pass it to find out what's in it. That is a terrible idea.
For sure.
That should never be done. I don't care if it is a 1-page bill or a 1 million page bill. You should always know what is in the bill. Absolutely. That's first and foremost. But honestly, if I had my way, if I just got to have a magic wand in Topeka when we're writing bills, I would put a sunset in every bill. That way, after so many years, I would stagger them, obviously, so you didn't have everything coming due at once. But every bill would have a sunset date. That way you could reevaluate it the year before and see if it's working the way it was intended to work, if it's costing what it was set out to cost, if it's effective, if it's worth having it still on the books. That way, if it is a good bill, then you extend it for that amount of time again before you get your the researchers to pull all the data to make sure it's doing what it's supposed to be doing. Or if it's not doing what it's supposed to be doing, or if it's costing too much money or whatever, then you just allow it to sunset and you rebuild and restart the process.
That's a great idea.
Very cool.
I think
Charlie Chambers has a dating question here.
I was gonna say he's been drinking a little too much of the cognac. Right. Or what were you drinking?
If you were a firearm, what kind would you be and why?
Of course. Oh gosh, that's an interesting. Yeah,
Mossberg 500.
Let's see.
And then Patrick says
only one.
Only one.
Honestly, I believe that I would be a 458, an elephant gun, because one, it's my absolute favorite. Two, the 458 Win Mag is my favorite, but along with that, it's just not for everyone. It's an acquired taste, and you definitely have to know what you're getting yourself into.
I got two calibers that shoot 45-70 right there.
Right there. Yep.
Nice. Yeah, I was wondering if you had any others on the wall there.
Mm-hmm. I do.
Very cool. Charlie says he's just on water. God bless him. Charlie Chambers. I got to tell you, Charlie Chambers has lost a ton of weight over the last couple of years.
Nice.
And yeah,
he's a pastor, isn't he?
And he knows everybody is what he is. He's a world traveler and he knows everybody.
Nice.
Brent Amston says he would be an M134D. Oh, you see, she would be an M314D. DJ says thanks for answering the questions, and Tony Simon says he would be a High Point carbine. It's bigger than he needs to be, but he's accessible to everyone and still gets the job done. It's kind of funny. I've actually shot a couple of Tony's High Point carbines, and they're really, once you kind of get the hang of how it works, they're really not too bad. At the beginning of all the nonsense here in Massachusetts, I went out with one of my friends, and he needed to buy a couple rifles. He ended up buying 2 of the High Point carbines.
Nice.
So that was pretty wild.
Well, in breaking news, Charlie is working on being a pastor. Oh wait, wrong one.
Nice. Just not knowing everyone yet.
Not
He's
yet.
close. He's got pictures like legit. If there should be one person that's like the Kevin Bacon of the gun community, it's Charlie Chambers.
Charlie, it's a good brand.
Charlie is a good brand. That's what he says all the time.
And Chambers, like Chambers, Chamber of a Gun. I mean, come on.
There you go. I know he should be the gun preacher, right? You should be
a cook.
I should be. It's Mr. Microwave. Come on, Mr. Takeout. What am I making for dinner? Reservations, right?
Yeah, let's not go down this path, guys.
Those are the George.
I get called Schmoe all the time.
Those are the George Foreman microwaves of Charlie Cook.
Yeah, the George Foreman grills. Here we go. All right, let's get back on topic here. David brings us up. He says, Rebecca, have you heard from any young women that have embraced the 2A tools after learning of your past abuse?
I have had so many people over the years because I was in 2A advocacy for a decade before I ever ran for office. So over the years, I've had the honor of hearing so many people's stories, both women and men, about a time that a firearm saved their life, or just knowing how to be safe around firearms have saved their lives. I have absolutely had people reach out to me and say, your story resonated with me. There are parts of my personal history that, I don't like to share. Nobody likes to admit that they made mistakes, that they chose wrong, that they did something that put themselves in danger. Nobody likes to have those conversations in public. I have been very open and honest about those conversations. And in doing so, I have been able to have deep conversations with people who, just like me, wish that they wouldn't have made some of the decisions that they had made. But on the other side of it, they're more than happy to use those experiences to help other people. And so it's been remarkable just having other people come up to me and say, well, I went and got training because I met you, or I heard your story, or you suggested this place or that place. That's what Million Moms does. Well before I was ever running for office, I worked with 1 Million Moms for Gun Control with Mary Callison. And what the organization actually does now is we make sure that we have contacts near whoever reaches out to us across America, and making sure that they can get training or information or know what their gun laws are or how to change them in their area if they need to be changed. And so it's been over a decade of hearing amazing stories.
That's awesome.
I'll tell you what's interesting to me, and it comes from me living under a shell. But when I see the women that I think have that I don't know their backstories, but I see how strong they are, how confident they are, how impactful they are, how empowered they are, and that's the side that I see of them. And then you have a couple drinks and you find out their story, and you're like, how did that ever happen to you? You know what I mean? And I sit here and I wonder this. I'm like, how can these women that you talk to that make decisions, that have power in their groups and their communities that do all of these great trainings and teach classes and impact everyone else. And you're like, oh, I didn't know this happened to her before, but that's probably how she became what she is, you know. And I know for me, I'm a happily divorced guy. I know that when I was married, I was a little bit of a pushover, but I think I don't know if I'm less of a pushover, more of a pushover now. I don't know, but I know that I have, I'm a little more, it goes right back to the whole, non-negotiable, unalterable terms. These are things that I'm not going to give up, and I'm not going to accept in my life, you know. And it's great to see that. It's great to see that women get over this and get through this, and they end up being impactful to other women.
We have amazing. I will say we have amazing women in the Second Amendment community. We have amazing women in the conservative movement who have such valuable stories to share across the board. But the same is said for men. So we have the best of the best people who have the best intentions. And honestly, what Second Amendment community taught me for over a decade is that everyone has a story. Everybody has that why. And if we take the time to learn that why, it makes all the sense in the world. And you will literally go into battle with these people because you know that they've been through it. And not only do you not want them to go through it again, but you want to show others that they don't have to either.
Absolutely.
Totally. Thanks, Robert. I don't need to keep my eyes on the road. This is true.
Because he's in one of those auto driving cars.
I'm in one of those auto cars. That's great, right? Oy, oy, oy. All right, we've only got a couple minutes left here. What imparting words of wisdom can you give us, Miss Rebecca Schmoe, Representative Rebecca Schmoe?
Yes, get it right. Be respectful.
All right, so I tell people every single time I speak now. I know that the outlay of what is going on across the nation is different in every state and every community. I understand that what is happening in Kansas, even though some of it is happening in Massachusetts or in New York or anywhere else, all of us are coming at it from a different angle. We are under different circumstances and situations. We're under different legislation as far as the state and local levels. If you cannot find someone to elect that represents you, become that representative. If I can do it, anyone can do it. And so I urge you to get involved, find out what's going on where you are, find out what you can do to help, and just make sure that you never say never, because someday it might be you that needs to be the one that's sitting in your state house pushing that button.
Well said.
Very cool. Very cool. All right. Well, listen, we need to wrap things up here. We're not pulling a name tonight, are we?
No, but we'll do it at the end of the month. I want to try to get another show with you before the end of the month.
We're going to work that out. Rebecca, thank you so much for being on the show with us. It's always a pleasure to see you. Congratulations on your award at the Gun Rights Policy Conference in San Diego just a few weeks ago. We hope your recovery is quick, but it's been since May, so that's out.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Right. We hope the recovery comes, obviously.
We hope the recovery is complete.
Yes, there we go. We want it to be correct and complete.
Yes, for sure.
How can people find you on all the socials? I know you've got a Rebecca for Kansas page on the Facebook.
Yes, I try to make everything as easy as possible. I have teenagers that do all my technology for me. That's why we have children, right? I mean, that's something like that. Sure. Anyway, so the website for my political stuff is RebeccaSchmoe.com. On Facebook, I not only have the Rebecca Schmoe 1MMAGC that is still active, that has to do with guns and liberty, but I also have Rebecca Schmoe for Kansas, which is strictly Kansas political. Then I'm also on what used to be called Twitter, but I am old, so I continue to call it Twitter because, it's easier that way. And that is just Rebecca Schmoe. And then then I am on Instagram, and that is also Rebecca Schmoe for Kansas.
All right, Schmoe, ladies and gentlemen, is SHO.
SCHMOE.
All right. Well, thank you very much. If you have not subscribed to Writing Shotgun with Charlie or Meet the Pressers on Facebook and on the YouTube and all of the socials, please make sure you go there. We're going to try to do another show in a couple of weeks, and we will do the drawing then. And please stay tuned in. Please follow us. Please like us. Please do all that stuff. Please share the show with with all your friends. We thank you guys so much, and we will talk to you guys soon. Thank you.
Out of here. Thanks for coming.
Thank you.
All right. There.